What's up, guys? All right, so I guess this will be episode 4 of the Land of Misfit RC. So dug this one out. Now I really didn't have to dig this one out because this kind of just sits like other ones are like packed away. Um, this one just sits on the shelf out in the open. That's why it's so dusty. So backstory on this. I don't remember exactly when I got this. If I had to guess, it was probably 2010, 2011. Oh, it's a Kyosho Ultima Pro. And so in the back then, so Jay, Mr. Lexan, um, I used to bust his balls all the time because he would build all kinds of low C's and RC10 or low C's and Kyoshos. And I told him I'd use bust his balls, saying, he didn't build RC10s because he didn't know how to, and shit like that. And he'd give me crap back about having nothing but associated cars or nothing but RC10s. Blah blah. And we did it for quite a while. And then one day, he's like, I'm gonna send you a Kyosho. I was like, well, don't send me one of them dumb ladder chassis Ultimas. I was like, if you're gonna send me one, at least make it a Pro. so he sent me a Pro, and it was not really trashed or anything. It had the and I'm not totally up on the Kyosho stuff, but like, here's some of the parts, and there was no shocks. As you can see, the wheels are there. Had the stock bell crank in it. The arms. The trans was in it, and I don't really know where the trans went. I think somebody may have needed one and knew that I didn't need it in this car, so I gave it to him or something. Because Jay hooked me up, so I hooked someone else up, and I'll explain why those Kyosho or those Yokomo hubs are in there. I didn't remember them being in there. But anyway, I had the stamp shock towers and stuff, and just the normal stuff or the original stuff. So I think from the beginning, my whole goal was to try and make this Kyosho as little Kyosho as possible. I don't know. I kind of forget. It's been so freaking long. But I knew right away that the stock arms were not gonna fly with me. So I had a new pair of low-C Andes arms, and they're exactly the same as the Ultima, except for, see that little X right there? That shows that they're for the low-C, so they have the 1/8" pins. So I had to drill out the bulkhead to 1/8". I drilled the caster blocks out to 1/8". And I think the insides I used low-C hinge pins, and then I don't know what I used, probably just some associated. They're probably actually the outer RC10 pins that I used on the outside. And then this is back when, so like Jeff from Factory Works. This is before Jeff from Factory Works. This is when it's just Jeff. And Jeff had built himself a pin router. And he was making all kinds of, if he had something that he had a template, he could make anything. And so he made up some shock towers for me for this. And the one night I was looking at my Composite Craft RC10, and I was like, I kind of want to put I guess the Kyosho, was it the XL or the Pro XL or something? I'm honest, I honestly don't know. I think it's Pro XL. It has a kind of a top plate that attaches to here, and then the steering posts. And I was like, well, why don't I just make like a world style top deck or something, right? So I literally one night I decided to make this top deck. So I ate a bunch of popsicles and I had a paint stick. And over a couple of days, I literally made a wood top deck for this. And I sent it to Jeff, and Jeff made the fiberglass, or used a pin router and made one for me. But he made a couple of them actually, just so I had like spares. And at some point, I don't even remember doing it, but see how that one's like more open around the servo? I think I'm pretty sure there was another one, and I had another post in here, so it was kind of like overkill. You can see actually with the extra hole there, it was kind of overkill. So I took it out, and that hole wasn't drilled in this one. So I used this top deck, and then I opened this up a little bit. It was just kind of busy. So yeah, so I got like my world's top deck on it. Then I was like, all right, what am I going to do for a steering setup? So I had this Custom Works Enforcer Intimidator steering rack, and just sat in one of the drawers, and little parts thing with the slide out drawers. It sat in there for a while, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it. And I was like, you know what? I think I can make this thing work on here. Now, normally, I can't, it's going to be hard to kind of, I'll just have to explain how it's supposed to sit. But how it's mounted to the shock tower there, that's how it would normally attach to the chassis. So it would stand up, and then the ball studs would face the back. So I basically like flipped it and then mounted it to the shock tower. And it like worked out perfect. I mean, steer's perfect. There's like no bump steer whatsoever. Didn't have to shim or mess with the ball studs at all. It's just like worked out perfect. So I did that. And then I knew I didn't want to use the Ultima Trans. It wasn't going to happen with me. So I was trying to figure out, I'm going to put a stealth in it, right? And I just so happened to have won this transmission. And it's a 240 from a B2. But it was actually a brand new in-box Stealth Trans. And I had built it just because, I mean, I probably should have left it in the box. But I had built it just because, why not, right? And I just put it together and left it back in the box. So, it came with the trans brace, gear cover still in there. Instructions, even as the grease and stuff in it. So, but yeah, kind of with the motor plate, the spur, the whole 9 yards. So that is all brand new, other than just being built. So I was like, I'll put that in here, right? So I started like kind of mocking it up, And so just for the diff height, so I made that fiberglass plate that actually screwed in the front, because there's no mounting holes in the front like a 225. So the plate attaches to the chassis in the back, or in the front there. You can see the lock nuts. And then in the back, they go up through the chassis, through the brace, and into the trans. And then I fabbed up this, just a 90-degree angle, attached to the trans case, and then through the front of the bulkhead. And then I just made up this little like motor guard chassis brace deal in the back. So many years later, I regret using this transmission in here. So I'm going to get a just a used one, you know, off of eBay, just a beater off of eBay to put in this. So moving to so now the trans is in there. So now I got to come up with a universal dog bones or whatever that will work. So I was playing around with a lot of stuff, and I eventually came up with Yokomo A70C universals with the front 870C wheel hubs. Like the rear and the 870Cs are like really wide, and the fronts are a little narrower. So Yokomo CVDs from the 870C and the front wheel hubs, and the Kyosho Ultima hubs and arms and the mounts and everything. And I know I I did try and use the Yokomo magnesium ones in the back, but I don't remember why I didn't. It's been so long, I don't remember. But anyway, it all works out perfect. And I, up until the shortly before the Roostapalooza race at Insanity earlier this year, there was a pair of gold 132s on this, and I stole them to build my 10T for the race. So there was a full set of shocks on here at one time. The biggest, and then on the front has, you know, the Kyosho bulkhead, and I wanted to retain the caster blocks and the steering knuckles and stuff, but these had a 4mm axle, I think. So when I was messing around with it, I put the associated, the aluminum axles with a 6220, but the opening, this is much larger. So it's like the inside diameter of the steering knuckle is a lot larger. So I ended up just cutting strips of metal out of a soda can, and then wrapped the axle, the associated axle, so it would fit tight in there. And it was just temporary. I knew eventually I'd like to have axles made, and eventually I did. My buddy Joe made up a pair of axles for these, because that way it would fit the bigger kingpin and everything, and just, it's a correct axle, you know, but I can run the associated wheels on it. It's like, these are the Proline, the B3, the Proline wide bodies on this now. So yeah, so the biggest thing that really, and I did have battery boxes in this too, I don't know where they went, but I do have new ones, so new black ones. So the biggest thing that held this car up, and that, like, I never got it on track, was the wheels. Because I tried a couple different ways, different universals and everything, to use some kind of a pin drive uh, axle, so that I could run like a regular RC10 wheel, or even if it wasn't like an RC10 wheel, just something that was pin drive. And between the lengths and then finding one that would actually, like a ball that would actually fit inside the outdrive of a trans and work properly, I couldn't find anything to work like this Yokomo deal. And I need the 30 series wheels, the deep dish wheels. And the 2.2 30 series are not that easy to find. And when you did find them, you were going to pay out your ass for them. And I wasn't going to pay out my ass for wheels on a car to go screw around out in the track. It just wasn't happening. So now, well, I know they re-released the cars now, so now they're a lot more available. But JC Racing started making the 2.2 Yokomo wheels. So really, that was the thing that was keeping this car from really being done and getting on a track. Plus, swapping that trans out. But I mean, you can get a 240 trans pretty easy on eBay for not a lot of money. And for this car, the amount that I'm probably actually going to run it, it doesn't need to be pretty either. so yeah. But now that, these wheels are available now, it can get on track one day. But, like with other things, it's like I got so many cars that are like track ready. It's like, do I care? So, but I think eventually I'll probably finish it up. And, even if it's just to, screw around at Insanity or something, or maybe take it to pit stop or something like that. Just glue up some sprinters on it and take it for a rip. Let the grandkids run it. Who knows? Because grandkids are getting to the right age too. So, all right, 18 minutes in. I guess we'll call it. I think I went over everything. So, yeah. All right. See you on the next one.